A reminder that we start about 3 minutes after, so if there's anything that you need to take care of, you have about 2 more minutes. Thank you. All right, well, we're going to go ahead and get started, and I will just continue to admit people. I'm in a different location than I normally am, so if anything is weird technologically, please let me know because I may not be aware of it. Welcome to the July Arch General Meeting. Again, thank you so much for joining us. A couple of reminders. If you could go ahead and mute yourself when you aren't speaking, I do try to keep up with that. But if you could as well, I would appreciate it. Please introduce yourself, drop your name, and if applicable, your organization or company affiliation in the chat. We're going to have time for Q&A and open conversation at the conclusion of today's content, as well as the time for us to share updates. And that is a great opportunity to take yourself off of mute or drop those in the chat, any questions you may have. And I'll do my best to keep up with them. But again, it's always better to just interrupt, honestly. A reminder that this is being recorded so that we can make it accessible for everyone. And if you'd like to access this meeting later, it'll be uploaded on our Arch YouTube page. I tried to do that within a day, and it's all caught up now. So if you missed a previous meeting, please, go back and check it out. A special note, we will not be admitting AI companions into these meetings. We do record meetings, but as a matter of course, we would like to have the opportunity to redact if necessary to protect confidentiality, etc. So today, I'm going to start with some federal updates and then move closer to home. So to begin, the COC NOFO, which is the NOFO that we receive funding as a continuum of care each year, dropped at the beginning of June, and it is due at the end of August. I do want to say that earlier this month, the National Alliance to End Homelessness and some co-plaintiffs filed a complaint against HUD to address what they saw as unlawful components of the fiscal year 2026 NOFO and some delays in HUD's fiscal year 25 awards. They have asked the court for an expedited briefing, which means that arguments for both parties will be made by July 31st. So we're coming close to that. Additionally, they asked for a summary judgment or a final decision by August 10th. And if the court is unable to decide that quickly, they also asked for a preliminary injunction parallel to their request for an expedited summary judgment. We're less than 30 days until the local competition decisions have to be made and the submission made to HUD. And our project applications just became available in eSNAPs, which means that the agencies that are requesting funding are only now able to go through that application process. And we have still not The COC application, which is our collaborative application, has still not been released. Um, so we're having difficulty responding to the fiscal year 26 COC program NOFO, but we are moving forward as we are able, and we are moving forward as though the litigation with regard to the COC NOFO is not happening. We're acting as though it's a normal NOFO cycle, and then we will respond to any changes as they occur. In addition, it's been a busy funding season, as I'm sure you all know, because I was sending out regular emails with funding announcements. We went through the Emergency Solutions Grant Program application process. Agencies applied through ARCH, and that application has been submitted to LHC, the Louisiana Housing Corporation, and so that process is, I believe, well underway. At a federal level, there was also an opportunity for COC Builds, which is funding specifically for permanent supportive housing. We did not have any agencies that were able or interested in this at this time for that COC Builds funding. I think in part due to the instability of permanent supportive housing funding and what we are going to be seeing in the coming years. So the investment, there was worry about investment with permanent supportive housing without the ongoing support from an operational standpoint. And then the YHDP, which is Youth Homelessness Demonstration Program. We do have an applicant, and we will be moving through that process as well. And so really excited about that. It's been some time since we've had a YHDP application from our COC. From a state level, House Bill 211, which was introduced by Representative Villio, it provides for the creation and administration of a homelessness court program. There's also a component of around unauthorized camping on public property, making it a crime. Again, a reminder that upon conviction, offenders would face a fine of not more than $500, imprisonment for not more than 6 months, or both. That bill was passed, and it's now a law, Act 788. And we're working out at a local level what that will look like. We've had several meetings, and I think a lot of generative conversations around local implementation of that law. A reminder that the renter readiness courses are ongoing. Thanks to the Lafayette Housing Authority for their partnership in getting these classes established. If you're interested in having clients attend or anyone else interested, they're free, but they do require registration so that we know how many attendees will be there. The link is on your screen. It's a bit.ly link, so bit.ly/renter readiness. Our next classes are today, actually one right after this one and one at 5:30, and then again on August 27th. It's very frequently the same day as our general meetings. So if you all know that that's the fourth Thursday of the month, that's generally when we hold these meetings. And again, not only for folks who are moving from homelessness into housing or participating in public housing, but really for anyone. I have said this a million times, but I would have really benefited from a class like this when I was renting my first apartment. The Out of Reach report should drop today. That's from the National Low Income Housing Coalition. I think that I've had an opportunity to look at it. There have been some really interesting findings. We will review that report next month, but just keep an eye out. Again, it should drop today. Right now, if you go to the National Low Income Housing Corporation Coalition's website, they still have the 2025 report, but later today that information should be replaced. It's really helpful. It's really helpful when you're doing grant applications or presentations to really be able to communicate renter dollars in our community, and they do it right at the state level as well as at the parish level. So you can really drill down as local as you need it to be. I see the question around renter readiness. It is an in-person class. We offer it twice a day, one in the evening and one during the day, so that people can accommodate their work schedules or childcare schedules. We also offer childcare during the classes so that if people do need to bring their kids with them, we've got things to do. And also, we are on a public bus line. We're on Gilbo. So we understand transportation can be an issue. We're trying to make it as low barrier as possible, but there's real benefit from being in person. The group really does coalesce and oftentimes become friends during the course of the class. Um, uh, I do want to remind you that there's an outreach portal, archacadiana.org/outreach-request, so that if you are concerned about an individual or you see the same individual over and over again, and you feel like they would absolutely benefit from some outreach, please go ahead and utilize that portal. You can fill out the short form either anonymously, or you can give us your information if we have follow-up questions. And it it populates a map that our outreach workers collectively utilize. And also, I put the link up there because if you have a website and you're getting a lot of calls like, hey, I'm really concerned about this person, or how do I get somebody into engaged with an outreach worker, you can put a button on your website as well that goes directly to this form. So again, archacadiana.org/outreach-request, and it will populate a map that is utilized by outreach workers across our continuum of care. So, one last reminder, if you'd like to make any changes to the way that you receive your Arch eBlasts, let's say they're addressed to a person who formerly held your position, or you get it at both your work and your personal email and you don't want to, please remember that there's an unsubscribe link at the bottom of every eBlast. And if you'd like to sign up for them, if you go to the Arch website, archacadiana.org, at the top, there's a tab that says newsletter, and you literally just enter your name and your email address, boom, and you will get all of our announcements and our opportunities to register for events. I don't think that we're a nuisance. You may get something from us once a week. Unless something is unusual, in which case it might be twice a week. But for the most part, it's about a once a week email that you will receive. So before we welcome our guest, I want to offer some time for any updates that we might have. So I put on the screen things that prompt your mind. But again, any updates, if you're hosting anything, or if you have any opportunities that you want to let the group know, or if you have any job openings, or if you just need somebody to help you think through something, now's the time to go ahead and just take yourself off of mute.
Hi, Rebecca with Faith House. We have a couple of fundraisers coming up. We have another trivia night. Our trivia night in Abbeville a couple of weeks ago was a great success, but we have one in Marksville titled Hollywood. So it's going to be a great night, a lot of fun. Everybody come out and support us. That's on September 18th of this year. And that's at the casino in Marksville. We also have our Night of Hope, which is sponsored by Dr. Mary Nyheisel. That's on October 23rd at the Warehouse 535 downtown from 7 to 10. So just wanted to let y'all know about those events, and we would love to see y'all there. Thank you so much.
What's the event like? Is there music? Is it food? Is it
The
presentation?
it's trivia night for the Hollywood event, the event that's coming up in September. But for our Night of Hope, you do have to purchase a ticket. The on-call band is a really amazing band of physicians, and they're a lot of fun. They're a cover band that come out, and we have a lot of different events. We have wine pool. Last year we had some activities for the kiddos. You could bring your kids with you. So it's just a lot of fun, a lot of dancing. The band's great, really good food, and just some great people to hang out with. So we have a really good time.
That sounds like so much fun. Thank you, Rebecca.
Thank
Um,
you.
I want to give voice to some things that are in the chat. So, Stephanie Hanks, we're working with Karen Crow Veterans Council to host a Veterans Resource Fair, which is free on Saturday, October 17th from 10 to 1 at the Karen Crow Community Center. And she'll forward the email when she gets it, and I will throw it into an e-blast and send that out. So again, that's October 17th for veterans who need resources. And then Bridget, let me open this because I'm a little bit still blind. Okay, here we go. Attention contractors become lead certified. And so that certification is there, and that's at the Taylor Center. So contact them. Again, that's LCG's Taylor Center on Shirley Picard Drive, and that number is 337-291-5450, and there's a registration QR code. So go ahead and download that flyer, and I'm going to go ahead and download it so that I will have it for you all for the next e-blast. So give me 1 second because I cannot multitask. Save. Great. Let's see if there's anything else. All right. Here is a flyer from Safe Haven Education Center. Their grand opening is tomorrow at noon. I'll be there, and that's at 209B Jefferson Street in Lafayette, and 3 new homes for 9 boys. And that's so exciting for us to have as a resource. Thank you for offering this, and please let's go out and celebrate. We certainly need transitional housing for folks who are aging out of foster youth. And so again, that's tomorrow at noon. I'm gonna download that one as well. All right. Anybody else would like to take themselves off of mute, share any updates or questions?
Hello, it's Wendy with the Acadiana Cares. How are y'all?
Hey, Wendy.
Hey, we really don't have anything new going on, but we're still rocking and rolling with our new 28, well, it's semi-new 28-day program that can transition into our longer term substance abuse, and that can even transition into sober house to permanent housing. We also have our clinic with primary care, mental health care, and podiatry care in our clinic, and we have our pharmacy attached. So, if anybody would like any information about that, just let me know and I'll be happy to get it to y'all. Thank you.
Wendy, I got a question. Can you talk about the criteria for that 28-day program? Like, how would we connect somebody with that?
You would call Brandy, extension 137, and she is the gatekeeper and will tell you all, because it depends on if they are already detoxed and when they use to determine whether they're going to need to go through a medically safe detox. We haven't started that part of our program yet. It is in the works. Some persons struggling with addiction do not necessarily, they can detox on our unit, but some detoxes are a little bit more intensive and need that on-site, constant medical care. But Brandy at Acadiana Cares, y'all can call our office at 233-2437, and Brandy's extension is 137.
Thanks, Wendy.
Thank you. Y'all have a good day.
All right. Anybody else have announcement? Just go ahead and take yourself off of mute. All righty. Well, I'm going to stop sharing my screen at this point, and I would like to welcome warmly Paul Anderson from Patriot Services Group to tell us a bit about your group. I was so excited he reached out and said, hey, I'd love to utilize some time at a ARCH meeting to share what we have to offer. And before we jump into that, just a reminder that these meetings are yours. So if you either would like to present and talk about the services that you offer, as Paul is about to do, or if you would like to have me run down a resource, somebody that you would like to hear from, I'm happy to do that as well. So please do as Paul did and say, hey, I would really like to get the message out. How do I do that? So, Paul, I'm going to hand it over to you and let me know if you have any technical needs.
No, I will let you know. Let me just introduce myself. My name is Paul Anderson. I am a licensed clinical social worker, but also the executive director of Patriot Services Group. We are in 10 states in 48 communities. We have 5 in Louisiana, but I believe we have 2 that fall within the Arch District. One called right in Lafayette called Brookwood, which is a 107 unit. And then we have one in Iberia South that we recently just bought that we're renovating right now as part of it. So we just renamed that Patriot Point of Iberia South from there. So what we do is we focus on affordable housing and giving people second chances. We started off as veterans about 10 years ago during the homeless epidemic, but as we've grown, we do a lot depending on the site. Some are heavy veterans, aging out of foster care, people needing a second chance, from multiple evictions, low income, or something may have happened to them in their life. So we are a low barrier to entry from there, while also maintaining some common sense to make sure we're not affecting, other tenants or for safety from there. So, for example, we'll waive eviction credit scores. We waive as part of low barrier to entry as long as they're referred from a program from there. And so, which I know are some of the biggest barriers that people face when it comes to housing. So, share my screen and kind of talk about our complex and our charitable waiver program and go from there. So, give me here. I'm sending a request. Oh, here we go. All right, share. We get to the right screen. And of course it's, all right, hold on, there we go. Can you guys see my screen? No, that's the old one. Hold on, let me get to the, sorry about that. I got multiple PowerPoints up. I apologize. And that was, get to the right PowerPoint. I apologize.
You are good.
There we go. All right. So PSG, we're a housing first community. So as I mentioned, low barrier to entry. Can you guys see my screen? Okay. Part of our stability plan is to provide clean, safe, affordable housing through the markets we serve. They're not like, they may be older units, but we replace the carpet, we replace the paint, we test for lead, we make sure that roofs are repaired. But we work with a lot of nonprofits as the easy button. A lot of the things that we do is we want to be your helpful housing provider, on the nonprofit side. We work with a lot of case managers from nonprofits, local governments, clients that we serve. A lot of the programs are designed from when I was a case manager in housing. I used to run COC, SSVF, TBRA, PSH. So I know exactly what you guys kind of go through in getting these people housed. So we actually have a non-eviction / charitable waiver program. So you guys are aware. It's a little bit different than what anyone does in housing. So if someone hits what we call a lifetime event, for example, where they have to take FMLA for pregnancy, they don't, they can't pay because they're not getting paid. If they have a death in the family, breakdown of transportation, everyone's about $1,000. 80% of people are about $1,000 away from eviction. We actually have a charitable waiver policy where we can do a payment plan or all the way up to 3 months of rent forgiveness from there with our programs. So what they would do is just come to the office, do a charitable waiver form. And then what it does is it gets submitted through tracking to me or my head of compliance, Beth Smith. And then what we do is we approve it. And what we do is make sure that the tenant is stably housed. The managers of the complexes, they're employed with the management company, but they're very social work focused. I can tell you that. But they work with a lot of people to make sure that we're not filing evictions on the 5th of the month. As long as the tenants are communicating, open door. And then also, if we need to modify the rent for them, let's just say they lost their job but can afford $500 a month for 4 months. we can also do that as part of the lease. So we are flexible, and where a lot of other landlords would be, we want our money right now, but that's also part of our mission, is to keep people affordably and safely housed. In a lot of our communities, we actually have empty office space that we allow nonprofits to utilize. For example, we can take an apartment complex, an apartment offline, or we've acquired something that may not be used. So if we do have office space, we allow case managers to use it, meet with their clients. If you bring mobile things, in some of our sites, we have doctors that use it as temporary doctor's offices. But I know sometimes it's hard to go into someone's apartment where it may not be safe. So what we do is we kind of provide that safe space that you can meet outside, or you don't know what's going on in there, and depending on your agency's rules. We understand common barriers to housings, prior evictions can be reviewed or raised within a managed COC referral. Credit scores, prior utility vet, we waive that as part of the COC referral. Criminal screenings still apply, but low issue levels are waived for, barriers whatsoever. So for example, they had public intoxication, we waive, like things like that may, as an example. We spend a lot of money on technology. We've probably spent $1 million a year to make sure tenants have multiple ways of communications. We use a system called ResMan, and Elise AI. So for example, how sometimes tenants are afraid to come in and talk about barriers that they may have and they may hide. We have found that AI is a very good focus. Her name is Elise, and most people think she's real, but she will communicate all the way into negotiating a payment plan with some of your tenants. If there's a work order, my AC is not working, it will prioritize based on the description of the level of need. We try to focus all work orders within 24 hours on the property, unless we have to order something specifically that may delay things. We also have multiple payment options where they can pay by money orders, Walmart, like through the ResMan portal. It offers. We have linked up with programs called FlexPay, and then we have some other programs with other nonprofits, but it's not in Louisiana yet. We're hoping to expand where they get $500 rent loans for free with 0% interest. We work with another nonprofit who's expanding in multiple states. But what we try to do is we use technology, because sometimes the barrier is facing, if you have a problem, where they can go online, communicate, text message, create work orders mobilely. So it's not like calling someone in the office that's not returning the call. So we try to make it as easy as possible. And we always say, if there's something wrong with your apartment, put in a work order, because if we don't know, we can't fix it with the clients. So this is one of our apartments in Lafayette. As you can see, whenever someone moves out, we paint the walls. We typically will clean the carpets, replace the carpets. So it's not like, we try not to be like where you may have run into some slumlords who won't fix anything, multiple issues, going from there. Our funds are managed through a trustee, so they're not directly. So with UMB Bank, so we separate our levels of nonprofit dollars. So everything is backed up with compliance, HUD compliance, TIC compliance. So we are very on the straight and narrow when it comes to our nonprofit reporting from things. So these are the communities in our Louisiana footprint. We have the Cove at NOLA, which we call Patriot Cove now, which is 300 units. Patriot Point of New Orleans, which is Burn Moss, which is right up the road from there. Kingston Point in Baton Rouge. Patriot Point in Lafayette, which we call Brookwood still. We haven't changed the sign. And then the acquired Patriot Point of New Iberia recently, which is 128 units. That is kind of going through a halfway conversion right now. There was some fire damage, but 60 of the units are online, ready to go. There we have ADA units on the first floor. They're a little bit older, but we do have some ADA units in New Iberia, so you're aware. This is Brookwood, which is on 300 Spruce Drive, which is right in the heart, in a little suburb of Lafayette. This community is really quiet, I can tell you this, but we have 1, 2, and 3 bedrooms here, from townhouses, flats. So it's a mixture of things, that you need. 576 square feet to 912. So if you have families that need it, HUD referral size, even to a 1-bedroom. And then this is in New Iberia, which is on 1302 Adrian Street, which are 1 and 2 bedroom units itself. We just replaced all the gutters, new, painted all. We're resurfacing. We're, like I said, going through a full renovation on this property with 60 units from there. But what we try to do is we try to make it like I try to design the program to when I was a case manager. What was the barrier to entry? What makes it work? If you guys, I like to do is kind of like similar to COC by the names list meeting. So if you have clients meeting once a month with the manager and myself, where we go through by names list, if there's any issues, earlier intervention, to make sure that nothing escalates. The goal is our goal is making sure that people stay housing, in stable housing and, are good members of the community and to, and a fair path into our housing model. We do have a video on our website. If you guys, I can share the link, but these are stories of the people that we have housed from there. We are kind of doing a video every 2 weeks, but this talks about from people who were homeless with 6 kids that we helped, all the way down to people that may have been coming off drug addiction for housing where no one gave them a chance. So what we try to do is we're not here to compete against COC dollars. We just want to be the end user. A lot of times when you have trouble, when you need help with placement, and like I said, I am a licensed clinical social worker, not licensed in Louisiana, but Illinois and Michigan. But but what we try to do is like help the community what you need. And in all honesty, what like the biggest conversation is really what do you guys need from us and how we can help. Like, are you seeing, shelter? Some communities don't have shelter placement. We try to get people in fast, so you're aware, so they're not staying out on the streets. Generally we can turn someone within a few days to a week to get them in a unit, and just really, just an open conversation to let you know what resources are available. Our rents are typically $700 to $900, on these communities. So they're not like luxury, what I mean? Reasonable for a lot of the communities needed. And, we try to keep rental costs low through technology, fixing things, and just trying to help communities in need altogether. Any questions for me? Is there anything I can help with from there? Let me stop sharing.
I have a couple questions.
Sure.
First of all, really love the office space that can be utilized. That's really exciting. And also the waiver. As we know, everybody falls on hard times from time to time. Do you come back to the COC if a resident is having an issue and was originally a referral from a COC?
We try to work with the case manager and nonprofit directly from there in an
Gotcha.
earlier intervention model, right? So, for example, if the manager's having an issue, typically what they'll do is they'll send an email. That's why I like the by names list model once a month on meetings. We do it quite a bit for HUD Bash in a lot of our sites. But if you just have one person, if there's an issue, the manager will typically send an email. Hey, before this escalates, your client may have had 3 or 4 people coming in and out of their apartment all the time. Other residents are complaining, right? Or we may say, hey, there's trash on the balcony. We know that you deal with mental health, or dual, substance use disorder, people coming off recovery. So we try to have not like where it's like, we do it like, hey, we're running into this issue. Can you please talk to your client, right? From there before it has to escalate. So it's more de-escalation techniques from there. But if they do keep persisting after the case manager, then we will file like a lease violation at that point.
Gotcha.
So it's kind of balancing members of the community and, that from there. But like I said, my managers, they're not social workers or case managers like they are, but they do have a heart of people that have in need. And what we try to do is, I always say, make the apartment your own, right? Not like blacking out or taping the windows, but if they want to put like a mini garden around it, I don't care, right? If they want to I have one person that puts anime pictures in their windows. I really don't care. Whatever it is, home feels like to different. And I'm going to say this, it's hard to case manage someone without a house. And I know that, especially in need, it's kind of the first landing place. But, ever since COVID, a lot of landlords have been built barriers such as 3 times income, increasing things, evictions, like it's automatic denials. But that's kind of where we come in differently, where we look at those things to make sure the client's stably housed.
We had a question in the chat. Will the program be expanding to the northern part of the state?
Um, we go slowly from there as the best I can. So when acquisitions come up that makes sense. So a lot of our funding is from an Obama era rule. And believe it or not, our apartments are probably in your 401k. So there are they're called Laura bonds. And so we use what are called Laura bonds, which are main focus through the bigger banks like Franklin Templeton income funds. So we partner with them in order to do it. So as deals and acquisitions come up that make sense, we will buy it because what we have to do is make sure the renovation dollars don't run short. Otherwise, we make up the difference with deals from other communities. So it is a lot of detail and a lot of planning that goes into this stuff. So you're aware. And but yes, the plan is to expand as we go from there. And it's just if it make like it's just what we don't buy are like, I'll be honest, we buy a lot of 70s, 80s, early models apartments, fix those up. But we are completing our first brand new, it's in Jacksonville, 17 unit PSH program that we're launching. So we are in Jacksonville moving to a direct services approach. It's our test trial from there, but it is fully renovated all the way down to taking the asbestos out of the walls. 3-year, 17 unit turn, multi-million dollar project. So that has been a long time work, but we are planning on trying to expand things. But as you know, like our main focus is just the affordable housing side right now. But it's just seeing how we go from
What is the current occupancy in Lafayette? Do you know?
81%. So I have 19 units available.
Oh, wow. Okay. And I know Thaddeus and Stephen from New Iberia had difficulty getting here, but they're on now and they're in
Yeah.
Iberia. So Thaddeus, Stephen, just want to draw your attention that this is Patriot Point of New Iberia. They're going to have 128 units, and they're renovating Iberia South. If I'm correct, if I'm correct.
Stephanie, that is one of our main things is HUD VASH vouchers. In Illinois, I probably have 200 HUD VASH vouchers. And in Las Vegas, I have 200 HUD VASH vouchers. In Texas, 274. So probably 1,000 of our units is HUD VASH.
Great.
How many units do you have in the New Iberia right now?
We're renovating 60 right now. So I have 68 of it. We're going through renovation. Unfortunately, we had a small fire in the back of our building. So that's getting repaired by Pelican in the next 2 weeks. But I probably have 20 units that can be ready to be moved into. But we do also have some ADA as they come available on our first floor. They're older ADA from there as they come available from there. But we do have some ADA as they come available. But I probably have like 10 ready to go right now in New Iberia.
And these units are not gender specific, right?
No,
the
it's
thing
male.
that I'm running into is finding something for women and women with children.
No, we have plenty of women and children that live on the site. It's only 2-bedroom there max though. So it's 1-1-2-2, the 2-2 model or two. That site has their 2-bedroom models has 2 baths or 1 bath models, and then the 1-1s from there. But no, we take women and children all the time, in a lot of our units. It's not gender specific.
And the same for Brookwood?
It is the same at Brookwood. Yeah. So just so you're aware, the way the bonds work is it's 70% low to moderate income and then 30% market as the hedge. So they're blended communities from there that we work with, going from there. So the market side keeps so people that make 100 grand a year can live there. So we blend a lot of low income to people that do make 100 grand a year, in a lot of our communities. The rents are different though, depending on what you make.
Are
Any
you
other-
local to
there's-
Lafayette?
I live in Chicago, but I am not, but I am here a lot with 5 apartment complexes. Louisiana is one of our biggest states. So I probably come down once every month and a half, 2 months from there. But if you want to set up a meeting or a tour, more than willing to meet with you whatsoever.
Also, I can meet virtually too if you drop the link
Yeah,
share
no,
in the chat.
yeah, no, it's fine. Believe it or not, I run a nonprofit out of 10. We have two complexes in Illinois, but just so you're aware, that we've expanded a lot during the COVID years when, from there, it was just right now, I call it our stabilization years, where we're reinvesting everything into the apartments themselves, nonstop.
Any
But
other
any other
questions?
questions? And I'm going to put my cell phone number and email address in the chat. So if anyone wants to reach out to me too.
Is it okay if I make your slide deck available?
Yeah, that is fine with me. Any other questions that I could answer for you guys, or any other needs that you guys are facing that maybe we, in your community, I guess, like that's what helps me figure out what we, what I mean, kind of need to do.
There's a question about contacts for the Lafayette and Iberia locations.
I can share those with you. I'll put those in the chat, right? I'll put that in the chat, and I'll get what the lease specials are going on right now. And we have one manager that runs both properties and an assistant. They swap every few days. So I'll put Lynn's information. Miss Lynn she's the only one allowed to yell at me. I tell all my employees. So. But yes, let me get the contact information. I'll put it in so that way you have it, and I'll get you the email address. And then what I can do is send out like an email to everyone, to you, Elsa, that you can send out to everyone with like a link. How do they apply, the websites and everything else.
That'd be fabulous.
So, all right.
Well,
any other questions before I go? Just making sure. I know you guys got a lot to cover. So.
No, this is great. We really appreciate it. Oftentimes we talk about issues, and not as often do we get new resources that we get to learn about. So
Okay, perfect.
thank you so much for
guys,
joining
I'll
us.
put this in the chat, but I'll return it back to you.
And listen, Paul, as things come up as far as saying it sure would be great if we had X, Y, or Z, then I certainly will reach back out to you.
Yeah, like I said, if you're like, hey, I need 4 units for PSH, we do that all the time. If you need 2 units for TBRA, we do it all the time. So I know what you guys face. I know what your COC, trust me, I've been tracking everything going on with this new administration and the ups and downs. So very well aware and ebb and flow with it whatsoever from there.
Okay. Thank you
All
so
right, guys.
much.
Hey, pleasure.
Does anyone else have any, as they, were listening to the presentation and had a chance to breathe, any other final announcements or questions or opportunities that you want to share? It is a very busy time, and I hope that you're able to prioritize some time off, some vacation, etc., like all the normal people who get to do that in the summer. Well, with that, I want to give you your time back. I want to thank you so much for joining today. Please feel free to, oh, Sally, you took yourself off mute. Did you need something?
I did. I was, yes, Elsa, I was just going to say, Elsa, you know me, and we run a monthly group. We're called the Progressive Salon, but we are a local affiliate of 10,000 Women, Louisiana. And we cover all kinds of issues. We meet once a month and we cover all kinds of issues. And up until this point, we've been covering things from education to healthcare to reproductive rights to immigration issues and everything. But we haven't really spent a lot of time looking at housing, right? But it's becoming, as y'all know, especially with these new laws that are coming out of our legislature, more and more pressing. Right. So I just want to offer an opportunity if anybody would like to come and address our group, which meets typically on the 3rd Sunday. This month we're going to meet on the 4th Sunday, but we always meet on the 3rd Sunday. If anyone would like to come address our group and make our membership more, it's not really a membership, but the participants who come and meet with us who are very interested in issues of the day, more aware of housing issues, just want to issue an open invitation to contact me. We'd love to host someone who'd like to come talk to us more about housing issues in Lafayette and Acadiana.
Great. I know getting the word out is such an important piece for us, so thank you for
Right.
offering that. Again, I will take the information from Paul and then some of your flyers that you've shared and get them into an e-blast. Please feel free to reach out to me with any concerns or questions. That's elsa@archacadiana.org, Elsa, ELSA. We look forward to seeing you next month. That will be August, I said it earlier, I believe August 27th. Let me double check that for you. Yes, August 27th, the fourth Thursday of the month at noon. And again, a reminder about the Arch YouTube page. There's a link on our website, archacadiana.org, top right corner, or you can just go to @archacadiana on YouTube. So anyway, thank you so much. Have a great day. Hang in there. The summer's almost over. And just two more sleeps until the weekend. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank y'all.